is Heather, and this is the 5th video in a 5-part video series telling the story of my 5 losses. If you have any questions or you'd like someone to pray with you after this video is over, please go to my Facebook page. It is Glory Baby Ministry, Southeast Houston, Texas. In the last video, we left off with me saying that I had lost Trevor, and then I decided to get on birth control. This is Charlie's story, which is our unknown. Our unknown means that we did not know if Charlie was a boy or a girl because Charlie was a early term loss. I was 6 weeks whenever I lost the baby, and the story with that is I had decided I was done having babies, but I didn't want to permanently not be able to have babies just in case later on in life I had decided I wanted more. So I got a depot shot, which I thought was the most effective birth control in my case. Obviously what we were trying before was not working, and so I thought that was the best idea. So February 1st, I woke up and I went to the bathroom and I was bleeding really heavy. And I thought I was just having my first period since being on the depot shot. I've been on the depot shot for about 4 months at this point almost. I was due for my second shot within like a week. And I was wrong. I apparently had gotten pregnant and I did not know. The only reason why I knew is whenever I wiped with toilet paper, Charlie was on the toilet paper. And I knew it was a baby immediately. My husband thought maybe it was just a blood clot, and he wasn't upset. This loss was very hard for us in different ways. For me, it was hard because when you're a mother and you carry a baby inside of you, you're immediately attached. You don't have to bond with the baby outside of the womb. You immediately have that bond as soon as you have a child growing inside of you. For a father, it's a little bit different, and my husband will be talking about that on videos later on, the difference of what it feels like for a dad and a mom. But in his case, he didn't have to have that feeling because, he didn't have to have the feeling of the inside. He needed the feeling of having the baby and bonding with the baby and actually like holding and seeing the baby. So being such an early loss, he didn't feel the same emotions that I was feeling. I went to the hospital and they confirmed the baby was about 6 weeks. That was really hard on me. There's nothing I could do. Again, guilt happened all over again. If I had just not gotten on birth control, they told me that's most likely why I lost the baby, was being on birth control, getting pregnant on birth control, the stuff being in my system. It just wasn't a mix. It wasn't going to work. There are some babies who, get conceived on birth control and they make it, and I'm really happy that that happens. But in my case, it didn't. This is where things got bad for me. I had lost 5 babies. My husband and I were not grieving the same. He was very shut down, not talking to me, distanced himself, started putting himself in work more, working way more, spending time with his friends, fishing and stuff like that, and not really spending time with me anymore. Besides my kids, my 2 living children at this point, I felt like I had nothing. My everything was pointless. I even felt like I wasn't a good enough mother, that because I don't have a job and my husband supports us, I felt like I was useless. I kept losing babies. I didn't work. I didn't provide for them. The only thing that I had to offer was taking care of them whenever I was home, and I figured he could get somebody else to do that. And so I had decided that my life was done. I was pointless. So I premeditated a lot about the decision to end my life. I had basically come to the conclusion that I was going to take a bunch of pills, and that was going to be it. Well, I sat and deeply thought about it and was trying to make the decision if I was going to end my life or not. And then that's when I heard God's voice. And at this point, I felt like God abandoned me, or he wasn't real. Or if he was real, he was a horrible person. And I heard God say your children are not dead. And at first, I thought, why would I think that? And then I heard it again. Your children are not dead. And I got this feeling like I need to read my Bible. So I got my Bible and I started reading. And the things that I read, I mean, it was incredible. Like, all these Bible verses started like coming to me like, look here, and I wrote them down and I read over them over and over again, and then it just like, it came clear to me like, my children aren't dead. My children are going to live on because of this idea we had of this ministry, this idea to help other parents who are going through loss, this idea to make a difference in their lives and to be like basically a guidance to them for not only their loss, but a spiritual guidance, like to help other people find God through this ministry. And then that's whenever we realized, like, or I realized at that moment, like, I lost all of these babies for a purpose. All of their lives had a purpose, and their lives still have a purpose, and that's why they're not dead. Because their purpose is living on through the ministry. And at that moment, it's like my spirit caught fire. And I knew like this ministry was something I really had to do. So I started getting more involved, started doing photography, started getting volunteers, having people make hats and blankets. I'm so grateful for all the help that we have with this ministry now. And we're always looking for volunteers if anyone is interested. And we just, it was incredible, just, you know, from the beginning. And then I kind of had some devastating news happen. So at this point, I pretty much had decided if I ever had another child, it was going to be about 5 years into the future once my kids were older. And I still wanted to try at least one more time. I didn't tell people that because I didn't feel like it was anyone's business besides mine and my husband's. And everything was going so good for us with the ministry and everything. And so I was so excited about where we were in our lives. We had like worked through all of our issues and we had this ministry idea. Well, I started having some issues with periods where I wasn't having them. And I kept thinking I was pregnant, but then I wouldn't be pregnant. And so I didn't really know what was going on. So I ended up going to the hospital. And, not the hospital, sorry. I went to my doctor and she did some tests on me, did an ultrasound, and told me that I was in the beginning stages of ovarian failure. So I asked her if that was like cancer or what that meant, and she told me that basically what it meant was my ovaries were shutting down. They weren't producing eggs anymore, or if they were, it was like rarely, not like a regular cycle anymore. It probably was from the amount of pregnancies I'd had, so many back to back, that my body basically was just done releasing eggs for me to get pregnant, which meant I was going to go through early menopause. I was terrified. Really did not want to go through all of that, especially I was 23 at this time, or 24. I was 24 whenever I was told all of this. No, 23. Sorry, I'm 24 now. I was 23 whenever I was told all of this, so I was very freaked out. So I went to church, and at this time we were going to a different church because we were very torn about which church we belonged in. We have a home church now, and I love both the churches that we kind of were going back and forth between. But the one church that we were like on the fence, like we weren't sure which one was the right church home for us, where God was really pulling us, but now we know for sure where we belong. And we went there, and it was really close to Scarlett's anniversary of her death, and or her birthday. It was close anniversary of her birthday, and I was just really emotional already. And my aunt and uncle happened to go to the same church, and they noticed that I was really emotional. So they asked, you know, like, what's going on? And I kind of lied, and I was like, I'm just really upset about Scarlett. Like, just thinking about her birthday's coming up. So I went in the kitchen, and my aunt got a group of ladies to come and pray over me. Well, while they were praying over me, I just broke down, and I told them the truth. I just found out I can't have kids ever again. And they began to pray that that lie be cast off of me, that that was not true, that with God everything was possible, and that I would end up pregnant again if it was God's will. Well, that was the exciting news for me. 3 weeks later, I did not have a period again. Figured my hormones were all messed up. Decided to make a doctor's appointment just to check out my hormones. I took a pregnancy test the day of my doctor's appointment, and it came out positive. Well, I had fake positive pregnancy tests because of the hormone issues I was already having, so didn't really think anything of it. Took a digital test and said pregnant. Then I was a little, but then I was like, no, I mean, something might be wrong, and that might be why they're coming out positive. So I went to the doctor. She did an ultrasound. She did blood work. She looked at everything, did a second ultrasound, and told me that she didn't understand. And I was like, what do you mean you don't understand? She's like, your ovaries are fine. I was like, what do you mean my ovaries are fine? She's like, your ovaries, they're fine. She goes, and you're 3 weeks and 4 days pregnant. I was like, what? Exactly the day that they prayed over me, I got pregnant the same exact day. I made a post announcing it to everyone, which I never would announce that early, but I was so in shock and excited. But at the same time, of course, this fear came back, this terrified, like, you know, what are the odds? Like, you know, I've lost, you know, I lost one and then had Kaylin, I lost one and then had Rebecca, and now I just lost 3 in a row. And, you know, it's just, I don't know what's going to happen. And I was like, I want to believe, I want to have faith. I don't want to think anything bad's going to happen. And then once I hit 24 weeks, it was the 24-week mark, I started having some complications. I got put on bed rest. And it was funny to me because I'm sitting there like, of course, right whenever a baby is considered a baby in medical terms and they'll save her life if she's born is whenever, you know, something happens. And I will tell you right now, she is perfect. She was born, she's my first and only C-section because I decided to get my tubes tied, so I will not be having any more babies, at least biologically. We have plans for adoption in the future because my husband was adopted. But it was like, you know, she was born and this child, oh my goodness, she's beautiful. She's perfect. She literally came out perfect. She scored perfect. I mean, like, it was like you could get a 9 out of 9 and she got 8 out of 9. And the only reason why was because her color was a little off, and every single baby's color is a little off when they're born. So, I mean, she literally was perfect. And the doctor even said, you probably already know this, but she's perfect. Everyone who sees her, she's perfect. I mean, she is. And she literally is my gift. She literally is my blessing, like all of my children are. But it's like she, I feel like, has some great purpose behind her, just like my other 2 children. I already know my oldest child is going to be involved with this ministry. I already know that about her because she's so passionate about it. My middle child, she's so loving, and so I see her doing something that involves helping other people also. And now my youngest, I don't know what her calling is, but obviously, like, she has some sort of great purpose for her to literally be able to be formed whenever I've been told I'm not going to ever have a child again. And so it's just, I want to give you hope. I mean, not everybody is going to end up having a baby after loss. And, you know, I can understand how heartbreaking that is and how hard that is. Adoption is an option. There are other options, being like a surrogate mother to somebody, not literally a surrogate where you carry the baby, but basically, I don't know what the word would be, but being like a mother to someone. You may have a friend who has a child and you're like a mother to their child. I mean, there's things like that happen, and I know it's heartbreaking. It is the hardest thing to lose your children, and rainbow babies, it's fantastic. It does not replace the children that you've lost, and nobody should ever make you feel that way because it's not the truth. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't make the pain go away. But also, with God, you can get through anything. I swear. And I know that that sounds so redundant and it sounds so annoying, and like it, especially whenever you're going through loss or you're going through something, you don't want to hear that. That's like the last thing, you know, because you're angry and you're hurt and you're upset. But that's what we're here for. We are here to show you God's love. We're here to show you our love. We're here to show you that we care, that no matter what you've been through, we've been through 5 losses. We know the pain, and we're willing to do anything to help you through it. Like I say at the end and beginning of all of my videos, if you need someone to pray with, or if you just need someone to talk to, if you want to tell us your story, if you have any questions at all about our videos, please feel free to message me. Our Facebook page is Glory Baby Ministry, Southeast Houston, Texas.